Hello. When truth is sacrificed to respectability, I'm going to talk about François Mauriac's Thérèse, this wonderful novel, Thérèse Desqueyroux, a soul suffocating in respectability. Nothing violent happens in Thérèse Desqueyroux. No dramatic betrayal, no grand rebellion, no romantic escape. And yet, someone almost dies, not out of hatred, not out of passion, but out of silence. François Mauriac's novel begins with an attempted murder, but barely looks like one. A woman quietly adding drops of poison to her husband's medicine. No screaming, no confession, no explanation. It's not a novel about passion. It is not a novel about freedom. It is not even finally even a novel about crime. It's a novel about suffocation, asphyxiation, spiritual one. A woman attempts to poison her husband, not, as I said, in a fit of rage, not out of hatred, but drop by drop, in silence, without drama. Thérèse does not scream, she does not revolt, she does not justify herself. And that detail matters because this is not a story about crime. It's a story about what happens when a life is morally correct, but spiritually lethal. Mauriac forces a disturbing question that most of us avoid. What if respectability doesn't prevent evil, but refines it? What if a world obsessed with appearances can suffocate a soul so completely that violence becomes administrative? This is not a novel about freedom. It is a novel about air, lack of air, asphyxiation. This is not a novel about evil erupting. It's a novel about evil fermenting, drop by drop. And once you see that, Thérèse Desqueyroux stops being a provincial scandal and becomes a diagnosis of modern moral life. A woman attempts to poison her husband. Nothing new, you might think. We remember Emma Bovary. But this is not Flaubert's novel. This is Mauriac's, and everything changes here. If we can compare it a little bit, two women, two poisons. In the 19th century, Gustave Flaubert gave us Emma Bovary, a woman intoxicated by romantic fantasy, suffocated by provincial life, who ultimately swallows arsenic to escape debts, financial and emotional, the debts of her illusions. 70 years later, in 1927, François Mauriac introduces Thérèse Desqueyroux, a woman who does not want to die, but wants her husband to. drop by drop. On the surface, both are stories both are stories of bored provincial wives and domestic scandal. Look closer and you find a battlefield of the soul. Many modern crimes are not committed out of passion or rebellion, but out of exhaustion and silence. As I said, Thérèse does not scream, she does not revolt, she does not justify herself, she administers drops. And modern life, too, is full of drops. So Flaubert and Mauriac, two moral visions here that I want you to consider. Flaubert, the great agnostic or atheist he called himself, looks at his characters with the cold precision of a surgeon. Emma Bovary is dissected, is not saved. Mauriac, the explicitly very Catholic novelist, looks at Thérèse and sees a soul crying out for something that she cannot even name what it is. She can't put her finger on exactly on what it is, this horrid silence inside. Mauriac, I said he was Catholic because he actually, that was the first thing he said about himself. He described himself simply as, "Who are you? I'm a Catholic who writes novels." But he was not interested in edifying examples. He was interested in, let me put it this way, in truth. I know it's general, but he was born in Bordeaux in 1885, awarded the Nobel Prize in Literature in 1952. Mauriac stands alongside Camus and Sartre as one of the major French novelists of the 20th century, though of course utterly different in spirit. What this novel is about, on the surface, a poisoning attempt, a bourgeois middle-class family that hushed it up to avoid scandal. Her father, who is in politics, a political father, protecting appearances, of course. But this plot is almost a decoy. At its core, Thérèse is a novel about inner suffocation, moral isolation, a soul trapped inside social respectability, a world where appearances matter more than truth. This is not a novel about suspense. It is a novel about what I said, asphyxiation, spiritual one. Now, you have to look out for several things if you haven't read it. First, silence as violence. Silence used as violence. Again, since he is so Catholic and everything, a Catholic normally reacts to the word silence in a positive sense. Silence means reflection and meditation and contemplation, and our minds naturally go there. No, this is the first thing to watch out for. Mauriac gives us silence not as recollection or contemplation, but as a weapon. If you think about it, of course, then we can come back to it as a weapon. And he's trying to say that that's the reality of the world that she lives in. Things are not said. Conversations always end prematurely. Everyone knows, but no one speaks. In this world, silence is never neutral. It is a mechanism of social control. Silence preserves order, but at the cost of truth. And in these novels, silence is the most refined form of cruelty. He spoke about his novel in interviews, and he said that she was both innocent and guilty, or not innocent or guilty, but breathless. Mauriac is not interested in the question, is Thérèse innocent or guilty? The novel begins with her acquittal in a court of law, so we already know. But instead, Mauriac asks, what kind of life makes this act imaginable? Thérèse is not a heroine and not a monster either. She is consciousness itself without air. She cannot breathe spiritually. Now, the Catholic themes that he uses, Catholic themes without comfort, however. Mauriac is deeply Catholic, but never sentimental. He writes about, he doesn't preach. He writes about sin and grace and guilt and freedom and interior imprisonment, but offers no consolations. His novels disturbed both secular readers with their metaphysical seriousness, and also scandalized many Catholics by portraying characters who are compromised and resentful and even cruel, yes. The essential thing is that for Mauriac, Christianity only makes sense. Well, we have the religion, yes, but then beyond that, only makes sense if it confronts the darkness of the human heart honestly. It has to confront the darkness of the human heart honestly. And it's amazing how he does it. I love him. Here, grace, divine grace, appears, but mostly as absence. You have to sit down and read it very slowly, and you cannot read it quickly. Grace appears mostly as absence. God, in a certain way, is present also always, but primarily as silence. But you can see it. And this is not a novel about conversion and being good. It is a novel of exile. Exile from yourself, exile from others, possibly even from God. And here I have to mention again something that I have talked about it before. Forgive me if you have heard this already, this argument of mine, but it is very clear here, and I was so glad to find it in Mauriac's, and he agrees with me, or I agree with him. I don't know, but we think about it in the same way. Is the question of guilt without remorse. Of course, as a Catholic, Mauriac makes a precise and devastating distinction. Guilt is objective. Thérèse has committed a crime, and she knows the moral law, and she knows that she has done wrong, and all that. And yes, she knows that she's guilty. But remorse is relational. Remorse is an interior movement towards God and towards others. After you acknowledge your guilt, we have to, I think this is part of Catholic DNA, we all know it. You have to move on from just guilt to remorse, where that remorse, it's going to move on to contrition and repentance and hopefully forgiveness and so on, and hopefully to absolution. In other words, you cannot just stay here with the guilt. You have to move on, acknowledge, and then repent, contrition, forgiveness, hopefully, absolution. And this is the problem here, that Thérèse experiences guilt without remorse. This is not confusion, it's the heart of the novel. That is what the author is trying to tell us, is the heart of the novel. Why? Because you see, remorse in a way requires hope. Hope, first of all, hope that truth be spoken. Hope that forgiveness with contrition will be there, and mercy, forgiveness and mercy received from God and from others too. Restoration offered. But in Thérèse's world, morality survives, but mercy does not. The family wants silence, not confession. The priest is procedural. God is invoked, but it's the God, I would like to say, more of the Old Testament. God invoked as order. Perhaps I shouldn't have said that, the Old Testament, but the God of the New Testament, not trying to say that there are two gods, but the God has manifested in the New Testament through Jesus Christ as presence and as love and forgiveness. So what happens? It happens that, you see, if you don't go from that guilt to that remorse, to that contrition, to that repentance, guilt accumulates in the person, in the soul, as dead weight. There is no way you can get rid of it. Accumulates as dead weight with nowhere to go. What he is saying, the author, very clear to me, is this is a Catholic soul in a Protestant or secular world. This tension. Thérèse lives inside a moral contradiction. She does have a Catholic conscience. She knows about sin, objective sin, interior responsibility, need for purification. But she inhabits a world that offers only, around her, her environment is a world that offers only respectability, discretion, a sort of a moral bookkeeping, as it were. This is Catholic vocabulary without Catholic ecology. What I mean is that guilt is privatized, absolution disappears, the soul is left alone, and that mismatch is lethal. Another point to consider is the family as moral machinery. The Desqueyroux family functions not anymore as it used to be in this modern world. The family was the your last refuge, as it were. Yeah, everybody knew you. They knew you. There was a sense of community there. In this modern world, Mauriac says that the family is no longer acts as a community. It acts like an institution. Scandal, in the sense of not in the theological sense, but in the sense of scandal in the town, defamation, rumor. That is actually worse. It is considered in that environment worse than wrongdoing, moral wrongdoing. So from what she gets, so forgiveness is kind of tactical. It is not forgiveness with affection, with a certain understanding. Um, you understand why she did that affection is lacking. It was an understanding with affection. Okay, yeah, I understand why you did it, but it's all right now. You're willing to forgive, let bygones be bygones, sincerely felt. That is not no longer there. It's not like that anymore. It's more like sort of smiling with your teeth kind of thing. It's tactical. And Mauriac's indictment here is quiet, but it is absolutely ruthless. What if a life that is morally proper and correct, but it is nevertheless spiritually lethal? Why this novel still matters? Many modern lives are externally functional and internally void, empty. So this novel forces us to ask that, what I said, what if a life is socially correct and still be a quiet form of death? Emma Bovary escapes guilt through fantasy. Thérèse is crushed by guilt, but guilt that has no escape. It has no escape. Fantasy offers her no refuge at all. She is too sober, too serious, not coquettish. She's far too intelligent for that, for fantasy escapes. Her crime, therefore, does not liberate her. It thickens the burden. Mauriac's warning is unmistakable. When a society replaces repentance with respectability, guilt does not disappear. It actually is worse. It ferments. So the conclusion to this. A conclusion could be the void and the cross, for example. For Flaubert, Emma Bovary's tragedy is final. Final. There is no heaven there is no hell, there is no heaven watching, no heaven, waiting, nothing waiting. The only thing there is at the end is that indifferent ticking of a provincial clock. Devastated. For Mauriac, Thérèse's story is never really finished. Even in silence, even in silence, she is pursued by God. Even in silence, she is still pursued by God. You can sense him there. A God that does not abandon muddy souls. That is the expression he uses. I love that expression. Jesus never abandons muddy souls. I love it. Flaubert offers a mirror to our vanity. Mauriac offers, if we can put it sort of dramatically or poetically, a sort of a prayer for our suffocation. And perhaps that is the final question. Are our lives merely chemical reactions in a void, or the first painful movement toward truth just beyond the pine trees? He uses nature a lot to explain the environment that she lives in. Beyond the pine trees. So this is the thought I want to leave you with. Some crimes shatter society. Other crimes preserve it. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.